And President Trump walked past reporters yesterday, as you see here, as they were asking him questions about the newly released Epstein emails. A vote to make the DOJ files public is expected next week in the House. On the takeout yesterday, Major Garrett spoke to Epstein survivor Annie Farmer and asked her about comments Speaker Mike Johnson made on the show, where he said lawmakers have to be careful about protecting the survivors' information.
I feel that unfortunately protecting the survivors is being used as an excuse to delay the release of this information. All of the survivors that I know and am in touch with are in support of this bill because it does have provisions built in for that. So saying, no, we can't pass this legislation because we need to protect survivors, I don't believe it.
CBS News Chief Washington analyst Robert Costa brings us more now on what Republican lawmakers are saying about this.
Across the Republican Party, there are calls for more disclosure about what happened behind the scenes with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. There is real concern among some Republicans on Capitol Hill, my sources, that the White House is not doing enough. But the White House continues to insist it is doing enough in terms of providing information to the public about President Trump's conduct. They say that when it came to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, that he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his club, Mar-a-Lago in Florida, and did not do anything wrong. But the fervor continues. Democrats are looking at all of these disclosures from the Epstein files, not necessarily from the DOJ, but from the Epstein estate, and saying there needs to be more information, more answers on Capitol Hill. But because Republicans control the majority in the House and the Senate, it's not moving at a fast pace in terms of anything being rustled about at the Justice Department and suddenly being brought forth to the public. And you see in the Justice Department, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche continues to work closely with the president, and he has sat down with Ghislaine Maxwell, who was a longtime associate of Jeffrey Epstein. But at this point, you see the White House again and again trying to talk about anything else but the Epstein matter. They want to move on. But there are Republicans like Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia and Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado who say, wait a minute, we need to hear more. But this is really about approach on the Republican side, and on the Democratic side, it's about a clamor for more information. Robert Costa, CBS News, Washington.
And now CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes joins us to discuss the Epstein files. Good morning, Nancy. How is President Trump responding to the pressure from lawmakers? Because often we will see him respond to questions shouted at him at the White House, but yesterday he walked straight out and did not respond to this topic at all.
That's right. He was uncharacteristically quiet for a second day in a row, Errol. He didn't take questions at that event, didn't take questions at a bill signing the night before. He and White House officials know very well what a lot of those questions are likely to be about. So while he did post on social media a couple of days ago arguing that Republicans shouldn't fall for this attempt by Democrats to embarrass him, to change the subject from the shutdown, it's now pretty clear that there's not much he can do to sort of stop this runaway train. The House Majority Leader House Speaker has said that he is going to put this bill on the floor for a vote next week to get the Epstein files released. And even a number of House Republicans who didn't sign on to this petition that needed 218 signatures, they are saying that if the bill does come up for a vote, they are going to vote yes, because they want to see the Epstein files released.
And it's interesting that Mr. Trump isn't saying a word, because he's not been accused of any specific wrongdoing as it relates to the convicted sex offender. I also want to ask you, Nancy, about affordability. This is so important to our viewers. According to recent CBS News polling, 60% of people describe the condition of the U.S. economy right now as bad. And we see this in poll after poll. So what is the administration doing to tackle rising prices?
The president argued the other day, Errol, that he actually doesn't think that the polls are right, that he doesn't think that affordability is as big of a problem as a lot of people answering those polls seem to think it is. He's also argued that prices are actually down, that grocery prices are down, that gas prices are down, that inflation is down, and the numbers simply don't bear that out. There has been some discussion of having him go around the country to talk about affordability, to make sure that the American people know that he's on their side. And the vice president was asked about this issue as well. Take a listen to what he had to say.
The president is focused now on getting people good jobs, getting people higher wages, and bringing down the cost of goods. We inherited a disaster. We've chipped away at a lot of that problem in 10 months. But that's why you've got 4-year terms, because we're going to do a lot over the next 3 years, 3 months to make sure that more people can afford a good life.
To what you heard there from the vice president, something that we've heard repeatedly from White House officials, which is that if prices are high, it is the former administration's fault and not theirs.
All right, Nancy Cordes with the latest from the White House. Nancy, thank you.